Okay, welcome to Eden Hope Academy. We are on our timeline cards, week 14. I'm Kim.
I'm Boaz.
And we are going to start out with
the Battle of the Alamo.
The Battle of the Alamo. So let's go back in time because we have to link this to things. And so let's go back in time just a little bit. And we have the United States, has been the United States for several decades now. And people are starting to migrate across the continent of North America. Throw on North America and make sure Texas is showing. And they want to go into Texas, and Texas is owned by the Mexicans. And so many of these people from the United States go into Texas and they start talking to General Santa Anna, who's the president of Mexico. And he says that he wants to have a democracy. And they say, let's give it all a thumbs up. Cool, let's have a democracy in Texas as part of Mexico. But let's do it. Dun 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 dun. Santa Anna wasn't really telling them the type of democracy that they were thinking. They were thinking of a democracy that they would vote, maybe each person would have a vote, like freedom and all, and he was thinking more of a dictatorship that's called a democracy that he's in charge of, which was frowned upon. So let's frown by the Texans. And so they started this Texas secession, or taking Texas away from Mexico, and they started quite a few battles. And so as part of this, William Travis, can you throw him up, was in the military, and he had been given quite a few quite a few cannons to be in charge of, and he was supposed to transport them to where there were more soldiers. But as would have it, there wasn't enough money. So let's throw up some gold coins. There wasn't enough money for him to buy the mules to transport the cannon, and he wasn't sure what to do. So let's think about it, Bill. And so there was the mission of the Alamo. A mission is a place that Catholics generally build as a place for monks or priests to stay in as they're telling the people around them about God, about Jesus. And so there was this mission called the Alamo, and it was fairly large, much larger than it is today. And he decided, William Travis decided that he would put the cannon there. Well, Sam Houston, can you throw a picture of Sam Houston up for me? Sam Houston was another person who was fighting for Texas independence, and he said that was not a good idea. But Travis went against Houston, and he put the cannon there anyway. Well, several important people came to the Alamo, including Davy Crockett, who was a senator and a frontierman. So throw up Davy Crockett. And then also James Bowie, who we know is, we've called the Bowie knife after. He was also there. So can you throw up James Bowie? And 250 other soldiers fighting for independence. Now that sounds like a lot, doesn't it? And they had a bunch of cannon. But they're sitting there and they had no other soldiers. And that's what Sam Houston had warned them about. So sure enough, just a few days later, Santa Anna comes and he starts barraging them with up to 18,000. Anna, this is why I didn't want to hold this.
I love you, Mommy. Please pick up.
Okay, can you please hold this like I asked you to, sweetie? That's why I didn't want to do it. Yeah, I'm going to keep going, okay? I love you, sweetie. Okay, so as we know, Sam Houston had told them, no, 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 do not do that. And they did it anyway. And so sure enough, Santa Anna comes with up to 18,000, throw up 18,000. Santa Anna comes with up to 18,000 troops against these 250. That's a lot of people against a very small amount of people, even if they had cannons. And so the people in the Alamo, the Texas freedom fighters, lasted 13 days. So up 13 days, so we don't forget that. And they fought and they fought and they fought against Santa Anna, and eventually the Alamo was captured by Santa Anna. And most of those people, including William Travis, James Bowie and Davy Crockett lost their lives. There were a few people who survived, but not very many. So the upshot, the quickie of the Alamo, was that it was a battle. It took place in San Antonio, Texas. It was against Santa Anna, who wanted to be the dictator of Texas, who was in charge of Mexico, and it was his land. It was against Texas freedom fighters, and the Texas freedom fighters lost. But it became the rallying cry. It became what people would say when they really wanted to get their troops going. They would say, "Remember the Alamo!" And just a few years later, Santa Anna was defeated by Sam Houston, who told them not to be at the Alamo in the first place, and Texas gained its independence. So that's basically the story of the Alamo. Are you ready for card number 2? Mm-hmm. Card number 2 is Sam Houston. And Sam Houston told people
not to put cannons in the Alamo.
They told them not to do that. And we already know that he was a freedom fighter in what state?
In Texas.
In Texas. Excellent. So Sam Houston was born in Virginia. He was born in 1793, and he was a lawyer, a congressman, and a senator. And he lived in Virginia for a while, but then he moved down to North Carolina and to Tennessee. And while he was in North Carolina and Tennessee, he spent a lot of time with the Indians there, the Cherokee Indians, and he became quite friendly with the Cherokee Indians and learned a lot of their ways and built relationships with them. So can you throw out some Cherokee Indians? So he was sent by Andrew Jackson partially to work with the Cherokee Indians in Texas, and he started working as a Texas freedom fighter. And on April 21st, can you throw up this? April 21st, 1863, Houston and his men defeated Mexican General Antonio Lopez de Santa Anna, and he secured Texas independence. And he became the governor of Texas. And then he was the first president of Texas too. And then when the United States wanted to annex Texas, they wanted to take Texas in, he actually sent some messages to Europe and some places like that, and he tried to get them to help, and because he wasn't really sure he wanted to be part of the United States. But eventually he led the way to Texas being a part of the United States. So overall, Sam Houston was someone who, what can we think about him? He knew which Indians? The Cherokee Indians, right? So we could link him to the Cherokee Indians. How about the president who sent him there? What was his name? Andrew Jackson. Andrew Jackson. He also served in the War of 1812. Sam Houston did, so we definitely need to link him to the War of 1812. And then we definitely need to link him to Texas, and Texas becoming a state, as well as Texas becoming a sovereign country before it was a state. So Sam Houston has a lot of history, and there is a city named after him, which is what?
Houston, Texas.
Houston, Texas. You're absolutely right. Okay, our next card, let's pause for just a second. Let's move. Okay. I know you're cold, but that was a consequence of you not putting on a heavier coat. Okay, come over this way. What's that? Oh, I lost my mic now. Okay. Okay. Do you have a sin? Okay, yeah, we don't want this sign in. Do you see? So it has to move this way considerably to get the sign out.
Why?
Because we want our own signs in, and that's distracting. Okay, you want it that far over? Okay, that's good. That's good. Let's go. Come on, we're losing daylight.
Here's the one. Okay, go.
Is it on?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now we are on card number 3, and it's the Oregon Trail. And we're talking about, now let's think about the things that we started out with. We started out with our first 2 were about Texas. And so here we have what were originally the 13 colonies. And the United States is slowly growing westward. So they annexed Texas. They brought Texas into the United States. And then the colonists are seeing this part of the United States way over here on the west coast as good places to live. And so they started out in Missouri, which is toward the middle of the United States, and they had a wagon train go all the way over to Oregon. Now, did a wagon train, did it go choo 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 woo woo? That kind of train? Throw up that train. Oh, not that type of train. No. Okay. What kind of train was it?
It was a group of wagons heading west.
Right. So they weren't really wagons like we would think of as covered wagons. They were called prairie schooners because they were much smaller than wagons. So these travelers had to pack everything that they could possibly bring into these very small wagons, and then they would start out and they would go all the way over 1,000 miles. And most of the time they would be walking it so that they could get to this new land. And the promise of the new land was that they would get to own their own property, and that they would get to, oh, did you throw up a prairie schooner? Throw up a prairie schooner. That they would have their own land and they would have the opportunity to build their own homestead. So that was what they were planning on doing. That was their hope. So I don't have the actual day. So in 1842, what day is it? Okay, so